Hello, it's Scott Manley here with another episode of Children of a Dead Earth. This mission is called Force Projection. Destroy an enemy fleet in an out-of-plane retrograde orbit around Mars. Just to follow up to your previous mission, you did an excellent job in that situation, and both Senator Chandra and Captain Chandra have passed along their thanks to you. And in case you had any doubts about what you did, we've just discovered Commander Rami has been receiving funding from an anonymous source linked to the USTA. On top of that, we've uncovered numerous more accounts of corruption, bribery, and sexual assault linked to that man, so rest assured he was a bad person and you did the right thing by killing him and his entire crew. That's all very good, but I'm heading off to Mars right now. And because Mars has quite a significant gravity well, that retrograde orbit will be significant. You find the combat in this mission particularly tough. First inspect the enemy fleet. Consists of a single laser frigate. Should be easy for me. Until you take out their laser, my drones will be vulnerable. However, my capital fleet has a support carrier and a skirmisher which has nuclear missile launchers. So I guess the plan is that you're gonna throw the nuclear missiles at it and hopefully knock out its lasers, because maybe laser optics are particularly vulnerable to nuclear blasts. And then we have drones. The drones can be very powerful once the enemy's laser is taken out. So basically I have drones, guns and cannons, and I'm gonna make them all work together. And because the target is in a retrograde orbit relative to me, I will have to basically either match orbits or do very fast flybys, and I think given that I'm a Kerbal Space Program player, we are going to match orbits, and I'm going to do the orbit matching via a high eccentricity transfer orbit. So this is a trick that you may or may not know. What we do is boost up into a high eccentricity orbit, and the idea is that the inclination change delta V requirements are a function of the velocity at which you're moving. So if you are moving at high velocity, your inclination change will require much higher velocity. So by going out here, we're moving very slowly when we're out here, and we can make our inclination change and then we can fall back. So there's a simple kind of rule here that the maximum theoretical requirement for any inclination change, if you have enough time, is about 82% of your orbital velocity. And the reason that is because you take the square root of 2, subtract 1 from it, and multiply it by 2. So that's the delta V requirements for going into essentially a near escape trajectory, and then for slowing down from that near escape trajectory. And then you assume that the delta V requirement for the plane change is essentially 0. It's not quite the same here, but I'm doing it this way because it makes me feel like I'm playing Kerbal Space Program, to be honest, a game which I actually have some skills with, whereas this one, I'm largely guesstimating my way around this. The tools aren't quite as well refined as the Kerbal tools, although I do like the really big manipulation things. They're a lot easier to grab. I mean, that's one of the few things about the user interface I like. I think everything else about the user interface is, well, terrible. So we have one encounter there, but we're crossing the orbit at such high speed that that is a bad time to intercept. We have another option there. 3 days to 1 hour. But now it's really just a case of adjusting this to get an acceptable encounter. Yeah, 600. I should probably have spent more time on this, but you know what? Here's where I'm like, well, I don't really need to use all that delta V. 580 meters per second. Let's see what the intercept says. 736! You lied to me! That's 150 meters per second more than you promised. Navigator, you should be taking a page from Scotty's handbook. Remember, under promise, over deliver. Anyway, encounter is locked in. We are going to face them, but before then, we want to launch some of our munitions. First thing, I'm going to launch our whole swarm of nuclear weapons from the skirmisher. So, launch 5, 20. 20 is probably enough. We'll launch a swarm of 20. We can't launch too many because then they will blow each other up. We can't launch too few because then they will get shot out of the sky. I kind of wish there were decoy versions of the nuclear weapons, so you'd only launch a couple of nuclear weapons and then surround them with like 50 drones. So the odds are 50 decoys. So that's those. We now need to make them arrive at the target before I do, so the target gets softened up. And that means that I'm just gonna cut the video right here so that you can see the results. And there we go. Thanks to the magic of orbital mechanics, we will arrive at the target hours before my mothership. And hopefully by the time the mothership gets there, it will be nothing more than a pile of radioactive slag floating in space. A memory of the mighty spacecraft that it once was. But just in case, we should probably have multiple waves of missiles. So we have 100 or something of these. Let's inspect the fleet. Launch, nope, not launch decoys. Launch Striker nuclear missiles. And a second wave of missiles is on its way. One thing I haven't figured out how to do is to make the fly pasts actually work at close enough distance. You know, you would think that a fly past for a swarm of nuclear weapons would be better because the relative velocity would be higher, I mean, you know, less exposure, but they always just seem to fly past at a distance, so I have to do the intercept. Maybe I'm missing something. Well, they're missing something. Let's launch one more wave of missiles, get them lined up, intercept plotted. 3 waves of nuclear missiles should be good enough to soften the target up, one would hope, but you never know because it seems very much driven by luck here. But anyway, I think with 3 sets of missiles, the next thing we'll do is we'll launch a set of drones once we get in close enough, and those will be the kind of the third wave, so to speak. So that's my fleet, and we've got a 516 meters per second burn. I'm wondering whether I should... Yeah, I'll run the turn a little longer, let those missiles get a good head start, and in fact, let's see if we can get one of the encounters to happen. May the best commander win, Republic Admiral. I intend to. So target the violet laser, target that railgun because railguns are also scary, and we appear to be moving in. 42 seconds. Now the question is, how many can they shoot down? 5 seconds and they haven't knocked one down. And oh, there's two down, and 32 seconds left on the clock. I suspect we're going to have about 10 left, so maybe I sent too many this time. I should have had something between 20 and 5. Yep, so 5 would have been a bad number because I think we're going to lose them before then. 15, 14, about to come into range of the railguns. It's firing its engines periodically. I'm not sure how that pulsed engine works. Looks like we're going to end up hitting it towards the aft railguns, and all the lasers have been destroyed. Armor has been damaged. Bits of the heat sinks or whatever, the heat radiators have been wiped out, but the ship is still capable of fighting. But with those lasers out of commission, it's definitely time to launch the drones! Launch the ready fighters. Carrier, support carrier. We have beam drone launchers and Stinger drone launchers. I'm just going to launch them all. That's 20 there and 20 there. And maybe I'm just going to click that. Yeah, let's just launch everything to make sure that we provide the enemy with the maximum amount of firepower. Okay. Slow down. Yes. That's going to be 35 of these. So let's set an intercept for them. We have how come my total... Yeah, my free fall is costing 0 of 2.4. That makes sense. So I'm basically going to adjust this orbit so that they encounter the spacecraft before my main ship. So these will be the vanguard, the tip of the spear. Well, the nuclear weapons will be the tip of the spear. So this will be like the next bit of the spear after the tip. The sharpened wooden splinters that get in people's eyes and give them infections. I mean, a spear was a medieval weapon, and in medieval battles you'd just be just as likely to die from a splinter that got infected as you were to die from getting, you know, impaled on the tip of a spear. Anyway, I guess we must be using a trident because we have 3 waves of missiles, so that's like 3 tips in our spear. Yeah, maybe. Oh, apparently I had disabled their nuclear rockets, so... and their radiators, so pretty much they're dead in the water. They have railguns to fire back, which may shoot some of my missiles out the sky, but I'm guessing that with 10 seconds to go. They're not going to be hugely effective against my massive missiles. Look at them go! And get ready to explode! Ha! Oh yes! Allied nuclear missiles have been disabled, but we have... Well, we haven't knocked out their railguns yet, but we have certainly made their spacecraft look an interesting shade of orange. Well, somehow, despite having 3 waves of missiles set up, only 2 of them decided to encounter the target. Now we have the drones. And they're just basically gonna, I don't know, close distance, fly by in 1 minute. That'll take some time, so let's fire them up like that. And once they get in range, we'll tell them to fire broadside. So I'm just accelerating, asking them to accelerate towards the target. And now, go to broadside mode, which technically isn't a broadside, it's more just fire. Oh, look at those weapons! Look at those railguns! Ah yes, destroying the railguns. 2 of them are disabled. A bunch of the radiators are getting disabled. Come on! Yeah! Oh, flying past. And the second wave flying past. And now they're turning around and coming around for another pass. Look at those railguns flying through the sky. Those are not lasers, by the way. This is a realistic game. Those are railgun shells with tracers because we need to be able to see where our railguns are going. The relative velocity is not going to get shut down in time. So we have lost all our Stinger drones, are out of commission. And I think maybe another couple might come back, but yeah. That is their work done. They only have 4 working railguns left, and... Well, it's dead in the water, it's spinning, its crew module is disabled, both crew modules are disabled. I'm not sure what there is left to kill, but my support carrier and skirmisher will move in with their weapons for the last strike. I mean, maybe they should fire their nukes or something. That might be an option, but look at them! Just keep laying on the railguns. Oh, look at that. It's like the 4th of July. Not that we necessarily celebrate that anymore in our space lands. We probably have a completely different Independence Day based on space independence. Also, given that this is the future, it's unlikely we have something as fantastic as the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence. We're more likely we have a bunch of text messages with emojis instead. Seriously, I'm now wondering which piece of government legislation will be the first one to include emojis. Wait, what are you guys shooting? They're like nowhere near where your lasers or your railguns are going. I keep saying lasers when I mean railguns. Just... Finally! I'm not sure, I guess we had to finish killing the railguns, but now it is truly destroyed. There's like a big orange carrot floating in space, a big orange radioactive carrot. And I did it with spending 2.08 kilometers per second of delta V. So we got 100% success, but because I took more than 3.3 days, 2 hours, I don't get a gold. That's unfortunate. Okay, we have the Uranian cargo run, running rings around Uranus. Make an interlunar transfer with a freighter from Miranda to Titania in the Uranus system, and join the freighter with the cargo station around Titania. Okay, the Yusta is moving slowly and reacting even slower to our actions. Thus far, the only major battle of the war has been at Ceres, which they have won, and it looks like they're content to take a cautious approach to this conflict. We are going to be counter-attacking Ceres soon, but we need you to do something for us first. I'm not sure why we'd be doing anything out at Uranus since that's so far from Ceres. I mean, the velocities with some of these spacecraft is, sure, it's kinda high, but even then, unless, 9.7 kilometers per second, it would still take you years to get down to Ceres. Regardless, we're gonna make this mission happen. So this is basically an interplanetary transfer problem. I think, we're starting in orbit around Miranda and Titania, and we need to try and get around. So what I'm gonna do is move them to something approximating the correct phase angle here. I'm guessing that's about right, but honestly, I don't have any tools to actually figure this out. Now we need to perform an escape burn, And lacking any information on where to begin, I am just basically eyeballing it. I think that might be a bit shallow, but that might be a better option. So now, of course, we just drag this vector. And the orbit looks really weird, and I know why it looks weird, because it's in the reference frame of Miranda right now. So if I change the reference frame to Uranus, I can run rings around it. There, look at that. So we're kind of getting up there, and we're a little bit early. So we need to figure out how to hang out there longer. So I'm just trying to think. I need to... Should I pick this up and remove it? This is the thing. I can't drag this. I really want to drag this from there to make it earlier. But instead I have to wipe out the maneuver, create it, and then redrag the whole thing, because the interface on this needs a little bit of work. Then again, it is better than Kerbal Space Program on day one, which didn't have anything like this, and you pretty much had to eyeball everything. That's looking good. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna get an encounter there. However, this is a three-dimensional universe, and looks can be deceiving. Yeah, you see, I'm significantly out of plane there, so I need to, of course, do a burn at the node to bring these orbits coplanar, or at least as coplanar as they will let me. Now, let's see what happens. So again, mousing along the orbit just to see where the thing is, and I think I may have messed up my relative positions here. No, no, no. Didn't mean to do that. Let's try actually adding a little bit more life here and seeing... No, wait, you know what? I'm doing this wrong. I should switch to Titania, or reference mode. So this way, when I adjust the orbits, I can see whether they get closer or further from the target. So there's Titania there, and it looks like we're passing over the top. So the first thing I need to do is correct that out of plane position a little. And that will be the red one. Give me the red lollipop. Okay, so I'm just gonna drag this and bring it down, right? See that? Bring it down, coplay. Oh god, it takes so long. Wait a second, what's going on? Why is that not showing up? Oh, you know what? I think I was creating an extra burn there. Hold on. Let me... Yeah, let's make this... we'll take this and we'll apply it at the orbital node. So let's nuke the old one. Drop a new maneuver trajectory node. I'm pretty sure the game calls them trajectory nodes. Okay, so now, unfortunately, these vectors are all in the wrong direction. I wish there was a way for me to mess with them in a sane way. Well, I could match the orbit there, but you'll notice that we're actually going to be arriving at this thing head on, so that is going to require far too much delta V. I need to move the orbit encounter across to the other side of the planet so that we're going in the same direction as the moon, or as the spacecraft around the moon. So, unfortunately, yes, the directions on this are not very good. I'm just trying to figure out which way we'll move. No, that needs to move the other way. This is very frustrating. Has anybody ever mentioned that this is rather frustrating? Because this is one of the more frustrating parts of this game. Like when the vectors and stuff don't line up exactly the way you want them. Urgh. Oh darn, the developer did all this nice work trying to get the physics right-ish and trying to come up with interesting maneuvers, interesting levels and things like this. But oh man, this user interface really hurts me at times. There we go. I think, oh no, it's still a little below. Just gonna make that thing lined up perfectly and then we'll just make the encounter happen. Oh, there. So now, what I really should do is create a burn there and then slow myself into orbit, right? That will be the option. Now the real question is, do I want to try and adjust my arrival time to synchronize with this spacecraft? Or do I want to do the syncing post-encounter? I think I'll do the capture. Oh wait, let's do that actually. I'm not sure I like the numbers it was giving me there. Click trajectory, and then slow the heck down. Slow, slow, slow. Oh, wow. Ooh, wow. I love this. This is what you call chaotic orbits. Well, they're not. They're sort of chaotic. They exhibit sensitive dependence on initial conditions. Okay, so this is just basically because we're in the frame of reference of Titania, and oh, there you see we get one green encounter before we fly off back into space. These crazy orbits are a combination of orbiting around Uranus and having its tidal forces interact, but also simply because it's in a rotating reference frame. So there, look, now that is several days worth of stable orbit. Now we just need to make something that actually creates an encounter at the right time. And no, maybe I'm not seeing any green flashes in there. Let's actually just get into orbit and then we'll make the adjustment. So look, we'll fly up, come over the top. Watch this. This is beautiful. Now we initiate the. Oh wait, there's a green one there. How many days ahead? That's weeks ahead. We don't want it weeks ahead. Gonna try making some more adjustments now that we've cut down on the, as I said, the sensitive dependence on the initial conditions. Let's try that again. I'm not really feeling that orbit. Something's not right. Something doesn't feel right. Of course, it doesn't matter what I feel because this thing is feeling the laws of gravity. That's really all that matters here. Okay, slow down. Oh! Ooh, okay. That probably means I'm burning a little more delta V than required. But it is giving me a relatively low velocity intercept. You know what? I will take it. Come on in for the kill. Spin around the inside, catch up on the inside, and rendezvous. 3.32 kilometers per second, 4 days and 22 hours. And so I think that pretty much ends what is generally considered to be the tutorial section of this game, and then the real game starts in the next episode. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.